Hey makers, this is Dhruvin, and this time I come up with one brand new feature which has been recently rolled out at the Dataverse solution level. Yes, I'm talking about functions in Dataverse. So let's try to explore what is function, what are the use cases around that, what's the architecture behind the functions, and let's see it with some real life example. Also, we will implement those functions into our Power Apps and Power Automate as well. So let's explore this feature in detail. So let me tell you one interesting thing about this function. This function is not something very new which is coming up right now. Earlier, it was called as a low-code plugins as well in the world of Dataverse. But here, it's an improved and improvised version of the same. So let's try to explore this feature in detail with me. But before that, if you haven't followed me on my Twitter and Instagram so far, do follow me because these are the platform where I'm uploading short content on Power Platform. So first of all, let me explain you what is Dataverse Functions. Dataverse Functions are formally known as low-code plugins, which executes the server-side business logic in the world of Dataverse. Let's say if you want to implement any business logic, let's say for an example, if you want to calculate the interest, or let's say for an example, if you want to find out your validations, or let's say for an example, if you want to store your data into your Dataverse table. Okay, these are the different use cases you have. And instead of writing the client side scripting, you want to make something to be called at server side. At the time, you can explore this Dataverse function. It uses basically the low code language PowerFX. So you don't need to know the complex programming language like C#, which we were using into traditional plugins with the help of C#. Also, it reduces the client-side scripting and improving the app performance. So these are the top reasons which makes the Dataverse function special. Now let me talk about some benefits of this Dataverse function. Number one, as I told, it's a PowerFX based. So you don't need to know about any programming language. It's 100% low code. Okay. And it's declarative and strong type formula language. Second is executed on the server side. So obviously it's faster in terms of performance and reducing the latency. Okay. And it improves the security as well, because obviously whenever we are writing any client-side scripting, there is always a fear of injection, right? When any logic is executed on server side, basically it's always a secure. So basically it's a server side execution. Third is reusability. So if you create one Dataverse function, right, you can able to use that into your multiple application, as well as you can use the same thing in your Power Automate, or let's say if you have created any canvas page inside your model driven application, you can use it over there as well. Okay, it come up with seamless integration which connects the Dataverse data and external sources via Power Platform connectors. So it's again a very +1 benefits over here. Okay, and simplify the deployment. Like unlike traditional .NET plugins, it doesn't require any complex deployment. Similar like how you are deploying your solution, the same way you can deploy your functions as well. So these are the key benefits that makes this Dataverse function so special. Okay, right now many people are using C# plugins and maybe low code plugins, but this is what it is a future which we need to use into our upcoming scenarios. Also, this feature is in preview at this point, but here why am I explaining you, because this is recently available. So at least you have an idea that what you can achieve with the help of functions. Okay, now let me talk about the difference between the traditional plugins that we were developing with the C# versus Dataverse function that we are having right now. Okay, so first of all, the main thing is that coding. So traditional plugins require C# or .NET knowledge. Not everyone is having that knowledge, right? That's why Microsoft come up with a solution of low code based PowerFX Dataverse function. Okay, second, execution. Both runs on Dataverse server side, so it's same. Setup, this is require a manual registration. This is no manual registration is required. It's completely low code. Just using screen, you will completely able to create this Dataverse function. We are going to see it practically, so you will able to see that how easy it is to create this kind of Dataverse function. Okay, Number 4 is reusability. So obviously traditional plugins or maybe .NET based plugin has limited to specific scenario versus This is reusable inside the Power Apps and Power Automate. While C# plugin is somehow like you can able to use only specific to a model driven application or the scenario which are based on the Dataverse, while here you can use it anywhere where you want. Okay. Next, integration. So obviously this requires the additional setup, some sort of software required in your computer and all, while this is like using the built-in Power Platform connector. So no such additional things required in order for the integration. Okay, so this is the base difference between the traditional plugin versus Dataverse function. Okay, now whenever you are writing any kind of logic inside the function, basically it is executing the server side logic, right? So there are always some advantages when you are writing any server side logic. So basically whenever you are creating any server side logic, it basically increase your security, improving your performance. Basically it's consistent and reliable, and easy maintenance and upgrades are you will be able to do it, and scalable, which means that easily able to handle the large workload. Okay, so these are the key benefits of that. Now this is all about the base idea about what is exactly Dataverse function. Okay, earlier it was called as a low code plugin as well. Now this is something which is on top of that. All right, so hope at least so far you are following with me. Now let me talk about one more interesting thing with real life use cases. Now over here we are trying to create our first function with the example. So let me switch my gears to directly Dataverse environment, and I have created one solution called Dataverse function. Now over here I am going to create my first Dataverse function, and to create the Dataverse function you simply need to click on new, and when you click on new there is an option automation, and underneath automation you will be able to see the option called function. This is called as Dataverse function. Okay, so let's click on that. When you click on new function, you will be able to see this kind of pop-up opened over here on the right hand side. Over here, first of all you need to provide the display name, description, input parameter and output parameter, and if you want to perform any operation at your Dataverse table level, you can select that entity table reference as well. And over here you just need to supply your PowerFX formula and click on save. This is the simple steps to create any new function in the world of Dataverse. So let's create a new function to calculate the sum of two numbers. Okay, so here I'm simply creating a function called calculate sum, and now here you can just provide any description if you want. So I'm providing like this, make sum of two number. Okay, and now let's provide the input parameter. So here I'm providing two input parameter x and y. So number one parameter x, and I'm providing the data type over here as integer. So over here in parameter you can provide the name and data type both. Okay, so first parameter is x and second parameter is y. I'm taking as integer. Okay, and in output what you want to return as a result, that's something you need to supply. So let's click on new output result over here, and as soon as you click on that you just need to provide the parameter. So over here I'm just providing the result parameter. Okay, so result is something which I'm providing, and its data type as well I want to have an integer, because at the end I want to return the integer value. Okay, now over here you just need to create a formula for that, like what would be the sum of x and y. Okay, and result is something which you want to return it, right? So let's try to write a formula. So whenever you want to write a formula, you just need to start with this kind of curly braces over here, and as soon as you start typing, it will start showing you the IntelliSense with the suggestion. So first of all, in result, what you want to return, let's provide that. So result is nothing but our output parameter. So let's just provide it over here, result, and in result I will use an expression sum. So sum is again PowerFX expression, we know that. So let's do sum, and inside that let's provide our both the parameter x and y that we were supplying, right? So let's just supply x comma y over here, and that's how this function is getting created. Okay, now let me click on save and create this out. Okay, so this will create one function in the Dataverse. Okay, sometimes let's say for an example, if you need to look up or if you need to have some sort of data from your Dataverse table, then you can use table reference as well from here. Okay, let's say for an example, sometimes you want to collect any data, or sometimes you want to patch any data inside your Dataverse, then you can use the table references as well. Obviously in this video I'm not going to cover up those cases, but let's try to create at least the base functions over here. Okay, so my formula is created and still it has an error, so I didn't finish the curly brace, so I'm just doing that and my final formula looks like this. Now I just need to click on save button and observe one more important thing. Right now if you look at my solution, I do not see any more dependency over here. Okay, now as soon as I create this function, behind the scene it will create so many things. Okay, let's see how it looks like. I'm just clicking on the save button over here and let's see how it saves it. Okay, so let's click on save. Will take some time and here I am, it started creating, and you can see that inside your solution it has created so many dependent thing over here. Okay, function and all, and obviously you can have that function available over here. So click on function and here you can simply see your function created over here. Okay, so this is the Dataverse function which I just created over here. Okay, so my calculate sum function is created successfully. Now we will test our function in a while, but before that let me talk about one more use case over here. I want to create one more function for my email validation. So many times there are scenario in our application where we are checking whether my email is valid or not, and for that we are using different kind of PowerFX expression called regular expression validation, and we are just using isMatch function in order to validate that. This is usually we are writing as a logic in our Canvas application, right? Now I am converting that logic as a function so that I can utilize that logic at the multiple side. Okay, so let's see how it looks like. So I'm just clicking on new, and over here I'm going to automation again and clicking on function, and this time I'm creating one more function called check is email valid. Okay, and I'm just providing a description, give the result if email is valid or not. Give the result if email is valid or not. Okay, and here I'm just providing one parameter called email, which is again my string parameter, and output is something which is result I want to provide, but this result I want to provide in form of boolean format because my return data type will be boolean. I want to just provide whether it's a true or false. Okay, simple. And now over here I'm writing a formula. So let's do the curly braces and let's provide the result, and in result I will supply isMatch formula. Okay, so let's provide isMatch. Okay, and in isMatch I will provide my parameter email as first parameter. So I'm start typing email and it is showing me the suggestion, and second parameter I need to supply my regular expression validation. So in double quotes I'm just providing my regular expression over here. So this is the regular expression which I pick up from the internet for email validation, and I'm providing the same expression in the chat window as well. You can just copy it from there as well. Okay, and let's finish the bracket over here, and let's finish the bracket for the isMatch as well. So I'm just finishing that bracket as well, and the final formula is looking like this. Okay, if it has any kind of error it will show you in the IntelliSense itself, or sometimes let's say if you have used any Dataverse table and it has any delegation warning, then you can see the yellow color sign as well over here inside the function. Okay, let's click on save and see how it looks like. So I'm just clicking on save, and this is basically saving my function. And here I am. You can see my second function is also ready, check is email ready, and over here see behind the scene it has created so many things like custom API and request and all. We don't need to worry about all of this thing, but here I'm just showing you so that you have an idea that it looks like a low code function, right? But behind the scene it is creating so many things by our own. Okay, and this make this product very special, guys, right? Now just imagine we don't need to write complex logic at the plugin level. Rather than that, this is something which is making our life simpler. Okay, although plugin has its own functionality, like if you are from dynamics background or if you are from model driven sign off background, obviously you are doing lots of activity via plugin, but this is specifically designed for low code people. So here at least with low code maximum functionality we will be able to implement it. Okay, so here I am done with this thing. Now you need to tell me one thing in the comment section right now. What do you think, based on the functionality which I explained so far, what else you want to implement with the help of functions? Tell me in the comment section. I will pick up top ideas and try to create some videos around that. Okay, so I want to hear from all of you guys what you think about this feature. Okay, now let me talk one more thing, interesting thing here. So we created our functions, right? Now it's time to taste the function, right? So how to taste those functions? So for that, you simply need to click on more option from here, and let's click on discover all. When you click on discover all, scroll down a little bit, and here you will be able to see a dedicated option called functions preview. Click on that. And once you open that up, it will show you both the functions that you have created over here. Now it's something that I need to taste both of this function. For that, I'll simply click on this three dot, and there is an option taste. Click on that. As soon as you click on that, you will be able to see X and Y parameter over here. So let's apply the value over here. So let's say I'm applying here 10 and 20 here, and let's see what result it is giving to me. So I'm just playing this, and here I am. See, it is giving me the value in the JSON response, and in JSON I can see the result at the end as result 30, right? So this is the value I'm getting over here. Perfect. So my function is working fine. Same way I'm going to taste my second function, which is check is email valid, and let me click on three dots and taste this out. As soon as I taste it, here let me just enter my email address. So here I'm just entering my email address like Dhruvin, and let's see what it returns me. As soon as you click on play button, you will be able to see it is returning the result false because this is not a valid email address, right? And remember one thing, these functions are executed at the server side, right? So when you make a server call from server, it is returning a result. It's not executed at the client side. Okay. Now let me just provide my correct email address over here. So I'm just providing Dhruvin@powerplatformtrainings.com. Okay, and now let me hit play button over here, and let's see what it returns to me. As soon as I do that, you can see my result is being changed, and it is showing me the result as true over here, right? So this functionality is completely working fine for me. Now the thing is that Dhruvin, you created functions and everything, but what's the purpose? Now I want to use that into my Canvas application, or let's say I want to use that inside my flow. So how can I use that? So let's explore this functionality as well in detail with me over here. Now to demonstrate how we can consume this Dataverse function inside the Canvas application, I created one application where I did two input box for X and Y to accept the number parameter, and I have taken one button control, and over here I will show my result in one of the label control. Same way for email, I take one text control, one button control, and here I'm simply showing its result over here. Now let's call those Dataverse function inside our Canvas application. For that, first of all, we need to connect one of the data source over here. As this is the Dataverse function, we just need to first click on add data and need to search about the environment table. Environment table is the default table which is created when you set up your environment for the very first time. See, this environment table is something which we need to consume into our Canvas application. Let's connect that out, and this will connect that table as a data source. Now, the thing is that how you can call those functions. Now, for that, you just simply need to go to the functions where you have recently tested this out, right? Let's see, if you want to call this function calculate sum, then click on the three dots from here, and there is an option copy code snippet. Just click on that, and this will give you the code snippet. Now go to your button where you want to execute this logic. So I'm on my buttons on select event, and I'm pasting the same logic over here. So I just pasted my code snippet, and this is what it is showing to me. Now inside this X and Y, I just need to provide the parameters. So here I'm taking this value from both of this input control. So this is my first input and second input. So let me take the first input over here, txt canvas 1. So let's apply that over here. So this is a text box control. So I'm converting text to number because my parameter is number. So text input canvas1 dot value, because it's my modern control. If you are having classic control, you can use dot text. And in y, I am supplying this parameter txty. Okay, so let's just supply this value of txty dot value, and let's just provide it over here. Okay, so I'm just doing over here. Perfect. So I just provided over here. So my final formula looks like this. Now only thing is that I need to somehow store this result in some of the variable. Set gbl sum. I'm just providing this name over here and finishing the bracket. Okay, let's format the code, and this is what the final code looks like. Your function, and inside that x and y parameter, and both the text box value I'm passing over here inside my x and y. Okay, and this final sum is what I'm printing over here. So n%, let's print gbl sum over here. So I'm just printing that value over here, and again gbl sum will give you the result as a JSON, right? So we just need to use dot operator and result. So that final result is what I want to print here. That's it. And same way for here as well, I need to call the function. So let's copy the code snippet from our main function by selecting this. Let's go to the Power Apps on select. Let's just supply this. Let's grab into one of the global variable gbl email valid and comma, and over here in email let's supply this text box id text canvas1 dot value, because it's a modern control. Okay, let's make sure we just finish our bracket at the end. Let's format the code. This is what it is looking like, and maybe you can just write over here dot result. That's what you want. Okay, either you can parse it over here or you can do it in your label where you are displaying. Okay, so I'm just copying this now, and over here I'm just printing this out n% and simply as a variable over here. Let's play this application, and now let's test this out. So first of all, I'm entering here 30 plus 50, and let's do the button click over here. As soon as you do this thing, it will just give us the result, and see it executed on the server side and giving me the result over here as 80. Okay, now let me do one thing over here. Let me add my correct email address at this point. So I'm just adding this in my text box, and now let me click on validate, and let's see what it returns to me over here. So right now it is returning me here as a true. Okay, let's say if I'm making is incorrect one, and let's say I'm entering validate again. Okay, so now you can see the validation is false, right? So this is how you can simply call those functions inside your Power Apps. Now the question arises that can I consume the same function in my Power Automate as well? So let me tell you, yes, you can do that as well. So now let's talk about the Power Automate one. So what I'm doing here is I'm simply going to my solution again, and I'm creating one more Power Automate over here. So let's create one automated cloud flow over here. So I'm just creating it. So let it to be created. It just open up this interface, and let me just select like a manual trigger flow, because I don't want to create like a complete blank flow. So I'm just creating flow button flow, manual trigger flow. Now in the world of Power Automate, if you want to trigger any Dataverse action, you need to click on next step and search for the Dataverse connector. And over here, you just need to search for the unbound action. There is an action available, perform an unbound action. Click on that. And as soon as you do that, it will show you all the actions over here. Let me just provide the email valid action over here that we just created. So I'm searching for that, and over here I can see the action check is email valid. Let's provide that. As soon as you do that, it will ask you the parameter, and in my flow I'm just simply creating one parameter called email. So that email parameter is somewhat which I'm supplying over here. So now let me search for the email, and that is how it looks like. And I'm just providing the name of the flow as test function in Power Automate. Let's save this thing out. And now we just need to test this out. Let's see how it looks like. So I'm just clicking on save. Now it's time to test. So I'm clicking on test button, clicking on manual, test. And first of all, it will ask me to enter the parameter. So let me enter the parameter, correct parameter. And let me click on run flow. And let's see what it gave me as a result. So let's click on done. It ran my flow over here. Flow ran successfully. And probably we can able to see here, perform an unbound action. And over here you can see the result that okay, this is true, right? So this is how you can simply reuse the same function inside your Power Automate as well, right? So that's it. That's all I wanted to cover up for this function one. Okay, so to summarize, how many things we learned so far? We learned how we can create the functions inside our Dataverse, how we can consume it inside our Power Apps and Power Automate, and how we can test out those functions. Now tell me in the comment section what you think about this new function feature and where you see as a scope to use inside your real world application. Tell me that in your comment section. So that's it for today, which I'm going to talk about in today's session. Hope this video is helping you and valuing your time. If so, hit thumbs up and subscribe my channel. It's free for you, but it motivates me in lots of other way. So make sure you hit thumbs up and subscribe my channel. And don't forget to follow me on Twitter and Instagram. If you are looking for any paid consultation or paid training, you can always check out our website where you can see always latest training around Power Platform. Till then, have a great day. Goodbye and see you in the next session with some amazing content.